Hello everyone, I'm International Master Andrew Martin and welcome to this chess-based DVD on the Hippopotamus system. Now the Hippopotamus system of defence owes its name to an eccentric English player called J.C. Thompson, who published a little pamphlet on this opening back in the late 1950s. Thompson was an iconoclast, and you get the impression that he just wanted to make chess theory look ridiculous by constructing an opening which was difficult to beat and frustrating for the opponent if they didn't win. His ideas today don't really have much value, but the Hippopotamus has evolved. And the idea now is that, black develops compactly within 3 ranks at the beginning of the game, trying to construct a solid, stable and flexible position, something like the modern defence, wait to see what white's doing, and then react accordingly. As we're going to see, the Hippopotamus is still a fascinating and not uncharted way of playing, but you certainly get off the beaten track quite quickly when you play in this manner. And it should be pointed out, of course, that the Hippopotamus can be played with the white pieces too. I mean, there's nothing to stop you pushing your pawns up to the 3rd rank, making some kind of wall, and then inviting the opponent to break you down. Although, of course, not many players do play like that with white because it kind of cedes the initiative right from the word go. So to start the DVD, what I want to do is actually to compare the Hippopotamus of the late 1950s, which really was an assembly of haphazard ideas, to the Hippopotamus of today. And we're going to start with a game played by Thompson himself against Grandmaster Janošović, and this was played in a simultaneous display in London back in 1956, I think. And it's not a great game at all. In fact, it's an awful game, but it gives you the idea of what was going round at that time. Now, let's not forget that when a grandmaster sees this move in a simultaneous display, he really thinks the opponent is a complete idiot or somebody who he can beat very, very quickly. So the thing is that Hippopotamus is not really played like this at all these days. This is about the worst possible way for black to get what he wants in the Hippopotamus. But Thompson was fond of this move order, probably because it was so ridiculous. And it's very provocative. I guess even Janošović just completely underestimated Thompson in this game and thought from his opening moves that he was just, a very weak player who he could just roll over by playing normal chess. So here we have black making some kind of wall in front of white's pieces and inviting white to break in. Virtually nobody plays with this way with black these days. Nobody at all, because it's just too passive. White pushed on and black blocked the position. Very important, as white is ahead in development, and it will be unwise to open up the game at this point. I'm not sure I would have taken on c6 with white, but this is a simultaneous display, and probably white just thought from this move that I'm going to roll this guy over simply by playing f4. Well, black played bishop g7, white pushed forward with f5, and Thompson blocked once more. Out came the queen, and I've absolutely no doubt at all that Janošović was looking forward to a quick win here, and so he should have been if he played correctly. But as I say, he completely underestimates Thompson's defensive powers. Now, the thing about this position is that usually when you get this type of situation, what you get is a solid position with black that's very difficult to break down, but it's very passive. And one of the biggest lessons of the Hippopotamus that we can learn, even from this early game, is that although black maybe takes up a passive stance at the start of the game, allowing white complete freedom to develop, you have to have some good idea of how you're going to break out of this passive position. This is absolutely crucial. You can't just sit and watch the opponent dominate, because it's unlikely a really strong player is going to make any sort of mistake. So you have to be aware of the ways in which the Hippopotamus system can break free. Well, here white makes more or less a winning move there, knight to g6, and this should be completely winning. Black plays d5, and now the grandmaster makes his mistake. What he should do is simply take the rook. And if black takes on c4, white brings his knight to e6, and this must win. black's position is awful. I mean, you can give a check. King parks in the corner. You know, black has nothing here. Instead, and as I say, probably moving very swiftly, he makes a terrible mistake. He takes on d5. This allows black to capture on g6 with gain of time, and then to play knight h6. Well, white's next move again is a mistake. H4, bishop g4, and suddenly white finds his queen trapped. In actual fact, Thompson was a pretty strong player, and national standard, I would say, and so he's not going to miss a move like that. After that, the game concluded very miserably for white. Black just took white's queen. G takes h6, queen takes c4, and Junosevic was compelled to resign. Now, you will conclude from that very quick game that the standard of play there back then was not great. And if that's all that black had to show in the Hippopotamus system of defence, then, you know, it wouldn't be very attractive to many players. But now let us move all the way forward into the present day. And I'm going to show you a game from a Title Tuesday tournament played in 2019 between Kevin Claude Bordy playing black and Mikhail Bryakin playing white. Now, I'm assuming these ratings by the side of their names are chess.com ratings or something like that, because 26.79 and 25.75. Okay, you can get these ratings playing blitz, but over the board, I'm not too sure. Anyway, the point is that the game developed in a different way to the one we've seen before. That was all very eccentric stuff with black. F6, knight h6, awful moves. This way, black starts the Hippopotamus system of defence via the modern g6 and bishop g7. And this is the method I'll be recommending to you on this DVD, although we will take a look at going into the Hippopotamus via other move orders, more especially b6 and bishop b7, which can often deflect many outright attacking systems with white. So the idea of the Hippo is that basically black is developing compactly and flexibly within 3 ranks. A bit like the hedgehog, actually, isn't it? The hedgehog, as you'll recall, is a 3-row system with black, and again, it can be played with white. If you open c4 and then put all your pawns on the 3rd rank, you can certainly do this. But black is saying to white, well, how exactly are you going to break through? White is playing a same-ish setup, and there's a no man's land on the 5th rank for white. And it's just a question of how you cross that zone with white. So white just is not committing himself for the time being, and black continues to set up his 3-row system. But of course, h6 is preventing white from playing bishop h6. So it is a legitimate defensive measure. However, it does mean that black can't castle. Just yet. Black doesn't seem interested in castling. And here we have now a classic hippo position, which occurs in many games. You know, the black player rushes to set up this formation and asks white, well, what are you going to do? This is the modern day hippo formation. And I'm going to repeat what I said earlier on this video, that if you're black here, the cardinal sin is to avoid passivity. You have to know how you're going to break out of this sort of formation. And I guess black is looking at moves like c5, e5, or even f5 at the right moment to break out. And as we'll see, timing is of the utmost importance when you play black in a position like this. Anyway, white's next move again gives the impression that actually he's not quite sure how he's going to break in. So he's thinking about the idea of a4, a5. Now, okay, that's a legitimate thought, but white is loosening his position when he plays a4, and black tries to take advantage of this by breaking immediately with c5. And that's a pretty good move here, I think. White gains space, and now the black knight hops in to a nice outpost on e5. So nothing clear from white. No clear direction. I'm sure white was wondering, you know, how he's going to make progress in a position like this, because over the last couple of moves, black's positions improved appreciably. The block centre means that a5 is not so attractive. The knight's got a nice square on e5. Black's position's getting better. White went back to c1. Black took on d5. Now it looks like some type of very strange Benoni. Queen to d7, very flexible. And after bishop e2, Black even castled on the queen side, which is kind of the ultimate flexibility when you play the modern against the queen's pawn. You know, it's quite rare that Black manages to castle on the queen side in this instance, but here he has. White continues pushing pawns. Black blocks. White is happy with the blockage. Now he's thinking about some way to open up the queen side. Maybe rook b1, b4. Black brings his rook into the centre. And look at that. White castles. Knight to g8. Another characteristic of Hippo games is that they can sometimes be quite long. And we'll see a bit later that you have to have patience when you play the Hippo. Because, you know, it will be quite common to play block positions like this. Here, I think Black is in good shape. There may even be some sacrifice on g4 in the offing, trying to open up the white king. King g3. Well, you have to remember this was a quick play game. At least that defends against the sack on g4. King b8, rook b1, there we are. White's leading up to b4. Bishop c8. And now queen to d1. Well, the first impression I have of this game is that it's of a much higher standard than the earlier game. This is a truly modern game. A lot of manoeuvring going on. Queen d1, was that necessary? I mean, could White have gone b4 straight away? I'm sure after that he was afraid of the sack on g4. So let's just have a look and see how this goes. Knight takes e4 check. You have to remember that queen d1 actually defended against the sacrifice. Well, here, obviously Black has got very dangerous compensation. And in a rapid play game, I imagine the defence would be very difficult. But my computer's showing me that the White position is playable. You can even allow this sack. And now a very complex position arises. After queen f5 check, queen takes b1. You think Black was winning this hands down. But actually, White's attack could be quite strong. And depends on the very surprising resource here. Queen to b4. When frankly, anything could happen. So there you have a complex variation. Now, of course, not even Magnus Carlsen would calculate that crazy variation with a chronic shortage of time. So queen d1 is quite understandable. But this allows knight takes h5 check. I wonder whether White saw that move. From his next move, king f2, I would guess that he didn't. And Black hops into f4. Well, White must make a play here. And he goes forward with b4. Black blocks again with c4, allowing White to take on b6 in order to get the knight in on d3. I like the way Black finishes this game. A lot of energy in what he does. And of course the c3 knight is hanging. White takes on d8. Black takes back. White played a5 and Black played queen f6. I think Black is now winning basically. And bishop e3 lets the Black queen in. Queen b3 stops the queen from coming. Bishop d7. King went to d1. Queen to d4 check. White resigned or lost on time. I'm not sure which. At any rate, complex play can result from the hippopotamus of the modern day. And so there I think you see the difference between the hippopotamus of old and what we know today. So let's begin our tour of this fascinating opening and see how it all works.